Hey guys, what's up? It's Vampire Bride. Happy 2024, though I'm a little late getting there. That's just been how this year has been so far. Today's video is, of course, the yearly collection update. So it's the games that we got in 2023. Collecting for 2023 was significantly slower than normal compared to the last 5 years, as we focused more on playing some of the mini games that we have and focused on a few of the newer games coming out that were supposed to be really good. The focus was also geared more towards platinuming some of the games in the collection. I love the PlayStation trophy system and that you can get platinums on the Vita games and then any of the PS4 and PS5. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. Starting with Astrobot's Playroom, and I got 13 platinums this year, and then I'm one trophy short on Kina, but I couldn't quite get the last one where you have to go through the game on hard, even though there is a cheat where you don't have to go through all of it. That game on hard is ridiculous. Ratchet and Clank games, Castlevania Requiem, RE4, Astrobot's Playroom. Those are some of the platinums from this year. And my PS5 controller collection has come along quite nicely this year. I've added quite a few to the collection. We did get some of the games that we wanted, some that were on the list, some that were coming out, new releases, and just some games that we picked up along the way. I ended up with 27 new games for this year. A lot of it was PS4 and PS5 heavy, and then of course my Switch games. My Amiibo collection got quite a few additions as well. I got the glow-in-the-dark Boo and the Poochie, as well as quite a few of the others. I'm getting to where I need a better place to store them soon. So every year I pick a few games, usually 5 out of that year's collection, and I do a little mini review about them. The first game I picked for these mini reviews is Castlevania Requiem. First, there's Rondo of Blood, a 2D side-scrolling game with near punishing difficulty. Victor Belmont goes through 9 stages to get to Dracula. There's also 4 hidden levels that you have to search for. You go through searching for Annette. Victor Belmont's 6 sub-weapons are his axe, dagger, holy water, Bible, and pocket watch. Rescue 4 maidens, one of which is Maria, who then becomes a playable character with her own set of sub-weapons. Her 6 sub-weapons include musical notes, white baby tiger, dragon whelp, turtle, egg, and baby phoenix. Weird sub-weapons, but alright. I've seen Rondo of Blood multiple times being reviewed as almost unfairly tough. Then there's Symphony of the Night. You play as the protagonist Alucard, searching the intricate map of Dracula's castle, which even after 100%ing the game, you play through the inverted castle. New abilities need to be earned. There are magic attacks. You shapeshift into Mist, a bat, and a wolf. And it opens up the ability to access previously inaccessible areas of the map. Magic attacks can be achieved by a combination of button presses. Hanging lamps and things throughout the castle give you hearts to help your health, and life vessels can permanently increase Alucard's health. Experience points help him level up. There's little difference overall in these games compared to their original, but for those who haven't gotten the pleasure of playing the original games, this is a good option, or for any trophy chasers. Castlevania Requiem has a Metascore of 74 and takes from 12 to 28 hours to complete. The platinum for this game is tough as heck because of Rondo of Blood. I would give it a 9 out of 10 difficulty to platinum. The map of Dracula's castle reminds me of looking at a map of Ori based off its layout. I would give Rondo of Blood a 4 out of 10 and Symphony of the Night a 9 out of 10 and a 7 out of 10 average. Buying Castlevania Requiem is a cheaper option than buying the original games, plus of course it's played on the newer console. You can get Castlevania Requiem for the PS4 for about $45. It's not very graphically enhanced, so it does have some good graphical options. It may be bare bones, but it is fighting like the older Castlevania games, and it's kind of nice and nostalgic. The music soundtracks across all are awesome, just like in the original. There's no filler, it's just straight up good gameplay. It's mostly nostalgic besides the voice acting being different, which doesn't take much from the game and the gameplay. It's great for a new game generation to discover these great Castlevania games. Next is Hogwarts for the PS5. Of course, you don't actually play as Harry Potter. Instead, you're introduced as a 5th year. You get to create and name your own character, and you get to change your look to how you want it, from hair to eyes to skin color. And then throughout, you can change their gear and how their clothing looks, even if you are using the effects of one of the pieces of gear. You're able to make it not show up that your character's wearing it and change it to what you want it to look like. The Hogwarts Castle is true to movie form in accuracy. It is a lot to learn at first. Managing your classes, exploration, treasure hunting, side missions, creature findings, plantings, creature catching. None of it is overly difficult. Flying around the map is fast and fun. There's quite a lot to do in this extensive open world and even just around the castle. There are many, many things to find and enemy layers to conquer. You have to make questionable choices that you feel like you're either going to get in trouble or put a wedge in a friendship along the way. I would give this game an 8 out of 10 without all of the side content, but to get a platinum, it's quite grindy, so I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Wand movements are super simple, so the schooling is not as adapted as it could be. Combat is fun and not overly difficult, but is reduced by the force spell button placement compared to the many available spells. You have to switch them out constantly, depending on the quest, and rely heavily on the quick attack button while spells reload, which sometimes feels slow. You find herbs throughout, as well as being able to plant them in Herbology class. Dark goblins, dark witches, spiders, and trolls are some of the many enemies that you encounter. They become a bit repetitive. There are also Merlin trials, which are repetitive little mini puzzles throughout the open world. Puzzles are gratifyingly difficult, but they do become repetitive.
These Merlin trials won't get the best of me.
The graphics are beautifully well done and polished, especially at Hogwarts Castle. But there are a lot of barren area between places in the open world, which kind of becomes monotonous. There's so many collectibles. Going back to merchants, to the city, unload extra clothes and inventory becomes annoying. You wait real world in-game minutes for your herbology projects. Hogwarts Legacy Edition is definitely still worth the full price, even though there are a few nitpicky things here and there. Especially if you want to get the platinum, then it becomes flat out grindy. For the most part, I would definitely recommend this game, but I don't know that paying for the deluxe edition is really necessary, as it's pretty much just costumes. I was definitely rusty when picking Hogwarts back up to play for this review to get the B-roll. The somewhat complicated button layout led to me having to relearn how to do it. You can collect things like eggs and different plants and herbs. You can't enter Hogwarts grounds or Hogsmeade while on the broomstick. You can fast travel to checkpoints on the map that you have already visited, or set a waypoint that'll guide you to where you need to go. You can feed and brush your captive animals for fur and other items inside their different parts of the Room of Requirement. Deke in the Room of Requirement can change the ambiance to a few different choices of how you want the room to be. Resident Evil 4 Remake is, of course, a survival horror game played in third person and made by Capcom. It sells for around $60, but I got it on sale for $40 during pre-Christmas sales. The graphics are better and the controls are better. This is an exhilarating upgrade to an already amazing game. An older, awesome game, beautifully modernized. Kennedy can now crouch, use headshots, melee, use sneaking, knife fights, parrying, all filled with constant action. There are 3 difficulties at first, with a 4th difficulty after a playthrough on hard. So there's assisted, standard, hardcore, and professional. There's not much change in the difference of difficulty between hardcore and professional, even though they unlock professional at the end. You have to make sure you don't get overwhelmed in the horde. It is a bit challenging as some of the enemies are faster. The audio adds to the horror aspect. Enemy noises and quickened music when enemies are coming. It's not 100% true to the original, but it's well done and offers a bit more. Though, one thing, if I had to nitpick, is that the merchant lines are quite repetitive and dull. The story, of course, this is the same as the original. Leon S. Kennedy is supposed to be rescuing Ashley Graham, the president's daughter. But obviously, his mission had an unexpected turn, which leads to him fighting hordes of enemies. Some of the boss fight animations were improved, from their lines to their death animations. And you don't have to heal Ashley with herbs, so she isn't as much of a constant nuisance. You escape from Hunter's Lodge and the Granados, who are infected by Las Plagas, a life and body-altering parasite, who are faster and more intelligent than your typical zombies. Enemies drop bullets and petas. Assignment Ada is also a DLC, but it isn't free with Resident Evil 4. It's an extra $10, and I'm not really sure that it's completely worth it. You can fairly easily manage your items in your attaché, from guns, bullets, health, herb spray, and herbs. The puzzles in the game are fairly easy. It's not too terribly hard to find the pieces or figure out what goes where. You have to watch out for bear traps quite a bit throughout the game, as they will snap on your leg, and though it doesn't usually kill you, it definitely slows you down, taking a minute to get out of it, which of course leaves you sitting. Resident Evil Mercenaries is a free DLC that comes with Resident Evil 4. You choose between village, castle, island, and docks. The only character that's automatically unlocked is Leon. Once you do enough with him, you are able to unlock the others. For Mercenaries, you start out at 2 minutes. There are up to 150 possible enemies to kill. You get 1 to 5 seconds added to your time per kill, plus more for combos. They have strong melee moves. There's also green time orbs that add 30 seconds to the amount of time. I usually play as the default, which is Leon. You unlock the others by getting a good score in Mercenaries with the other characters. Bonus rate for quick kill combos, plus points for rank. The ranks you can get are C, B, A, S, S+, and S++. You have to get over 1 million points for an S++. Even if you die, your points still count towards your rank. At times you're able to use Mayhem mode, which increases your reload and action speeds, as well as your attack power. You're being surrounded by Plaga. They attack using chainsaws, knives, fiery arrows, fiery bottles, axes, pitchforks. You can break barrels to find ammo, just like throughout the game. There seems to be ample ammo, especially with melee from kill shots. more than can be used, which is unlike in the game where there's fewer, especially in the harder difficulties. Pull out the shotgun in a pinch when you're getting surrounded. You can use herbs in Mercenaries if you can get away from the horde quickly enough to be able to apply it. Next I have Pikmin 4 on the Switch. While trying to find Captain Olimar, a team crash lands. Your character and his dog-like creature Ochi are tasked with finding all of the members of the crew, as well as Captain Olimar, and others who have crashed. Leaflings get in the way and challenge you to test your Dandori and beat them in competitions. They have changed others into leaflings, and you have to collect sap to turn them back. Pikmin 4 is one of the longer Pikmin games, taking 17 hours to 39 hours to 100% complete. Once you think you're done with the game and the credits roll, you find out that there's actually another level after where you're tasked with trying to find a cure for Ochi. I was pleasantly surprised that it continued. It could be even longer if you go back and retest your skills with the Dandori battles. Dandori is basically the art of effectively controlling tasks and making sure no Pikmin goes idle and that you're using your resources in the best way that you can. Some of the challenges are quite difficult, but none of them are impossibly so. But it does give you an easy out. If you can't do it, then Dingo, one of the members of the crew, will actually beat it for you and it will count as done. It is quite possibly the best Pikmin game yet, and I would 9 out of 10 recommend. It's also considerably easier than the previous installments. Back at the spaceship base area, you are able to repeat Dandori battles, which can be challenging and fun, as well as talk to castaways, the people that you found throughout the levels after you turn them from the leaflings, which are the beings they got turned into. You can get bombs, mines, pick carrots, which distracted the opponents, also at one of the castaways at the spaceship base. There is also the Piclopedia, which has a list of all of the enemies that you've encountered. And then there is a list of all of the treasures that you have found. I love the addition of the night missions in the Glow Pikmin in Pikmin 4. The night missions are quite challenging, but they are much quicker than the day missions. During night missions, after finishing their assignment, the Pikmin will come back to you instead of staying at the base, so you don't have to waste time retrieving them. Night missions only last for 4 minutes, which go by so fast, with the same 30-second countdown to tell you when the night is over as the days. However, the days last for 15 minutes unless you go in one of the caves. Then those last significantly longer. I love that the time slows down when you're in the caves. It gives you time to solve puzzles and explore without being rushed about the day being over. 9 Pikmin show up in Pikmin 4. The red ones to withstand fire, the yellow to withstand electricity, the blue for water, then of course there's rock and ice. There's winged Pikmin, the purple Pikmin, which are the strongest and are equivalent to 10 of any of the other Pikmin when it comes to either carrying stuff or defeating an enemy. And the white poison Pikmin, and of course the glow Pikmin that only show up at night missions or when you're down in one of the caves. Also, after Olimar is saved, you are able to go to him by the spaceship and play his story, which is a up to 15-day addition to the game. The Last of Us. This is a Naughty Dog game. Towards the beginning of the game, when you're smuggling Ellie out, is so realistic feeling. Going through the hidden areas and turning the generator on to light up the tunnel. It's really cool to see how they bond through the conversations and experience.
Oh, good. Something else you can drive me crazy with.
That's awesome.
running through the sewer tunnels around permanently parked cars and abandoned buildings, painting a picture of this post-apocalyptic world. And it's cool seeing Ellie getting to experience new things, like walking through the woods. There's so much graphical detail, like Joel's salt and pepper beard. You can check in or on desks and shelves for items such as bandages to refill your health and bullets. There are also throwable bottles and bricks scattered around every area. I like how they developed the characters through loss. They didn't just show you, well, Joel and Ellie, as they singularly make it and make their way through, and somehow they're the ones to both survive. Showing them lose people along the way makes it a much more believable story. You can change the difficulty settings at any point throughout the game. You reload the flashlight by shaking the controller, which makes it bump, vibrate, and make a noise. You craft bombs and Molotov cocktails using the things that you find, as well as health kits. And you collect gears for gun upgrades. Sneaking around avoiding enemies, many of which find you by sound, can be beneficial to preserve ammo. If you're playing on the harder difficulties, this becomes pretty necessary. But on standard difficulty, it isn't as big of an issue as there is usually plenty of ammo. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like PS4 Ellie was always in the way. Trying to come back out of a room, she would be right there to where I couldn't turn around. In the easier playthroughs of the game, there is an overabundance of supplies. You're never short on shivs or wraps, scissors, anything. But if you're playing on the harder difficulties, those are much harder to come by. Some of the shiv doors, we wouldn't have enough shivs to open. So you have to really be careful on the harder difficulties and pick and choose when to use them. If you're having to use them on an enemy, you might not be able to get behind a door, which usually has quite a bit of supplies, whether it's gears or stuff to restock your crafting supplies. So it's pretty important to be able to shiv those doors open. It's not linear as to where you need to go and what to do next. At first, I would lose my way a bit. It's hard to figure out what to do and where to go. Some notes and collectibles and Firefly pendants are hidden fairly well. If you run around lost for too long, Ellie will give you a hint. Or you can press L3 and it will show you the direction you need to be headed. There is no map, which I tend to rely on pretty heavily during my first playthrough of a game. I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing, but especially at the hospital, I would have liked to have a map to know where I was supposed to go. Or during the section that you play as Ellie, I was pretty lost in the town trying to find my way back to where I had left Joel. So there was a couple of times during my first playthrough that I would have liked to have a map. That is just a matter of preference, as many people probably didn't need it or don't care about that. The weapon upgrades are significantly noticeable. Health regenerates slowly, but it does. But you can quicken regeneration by using pills that you find throughout each chapter, as well as increasing maximum health, listening mode distance, crafting speed, and also reducing weapon sway. The game does not pause while you upgrade your health or craft, so you have to do these things craftily. It's easy to switch weapons from, say, a handgun to another gun or from a sniper to a shotgun, but it is more time consuming, and loading the gun and switching guns, it also does not pause. Along with the various horde, you have to fight through hunters and the military guys. There are helpful tips on the loading screen that usually pertain to what you're doing and or what just made you die. Joel walks slowly but sprints quickly, so you can quickly get where you need to go and it's not a slow trudge. It can get a little tedious searching every room of the houses and buildings to find supplies, but it is usually worth it to find gears and pills to upgrade the weapons and things to craft, especially in rooms that you have to shiv open. This game tends to keep you on edge most of the time. You never know when a clicker is going to show up and attack. There are a few instances where they surprised me when I walked into a room and there was a runner or a clicker as soon as you walk in. When you find a tape recorder that someone had left behind, it actually plays through the PS4 controller, which is a neat little utilization of the PS4 controller's abilities. That being said, I also really don't care for the part where you have to play as Ellie. I mean, it's a good idea in theory, I just really don't like it. It's just kind of slow, and you only have a knife during part of it. So after all the time you spent upgrading your weapons, you're stuck back. I feel like you're back at the beginning. And I really don't like that much of the sneaking around, and it seems so slow. Kind of like playing Mary Jane in Spider-Man. I did, however, enjoy the part where she was getting to use the hunting rifle at first before they took it. During the harder difficulty playthrough, it is almost imperative to sneak around at times because there's too many enemies to overwhelm you, or just because you're trying to save on ammo and supplies. Here I'm going to show the PlayStation 4 The Last of Us and the PlayStation 5 The Last of Us Part 1 side by side as a little comparison. The PlayStation 5 version seems to be a bit brighter, maybe a little graphically enhanced, but they are very similar and they play similarly. But there are just some small additions to really pull together this really awesome game. So coming up for 2024, this year we want to continue to focus on playing games more, especially some of the ones we have, and then some of the newer systems. I really like playing the Switch games, and of course for the PlayStation 5. This year I really want to post more videos. Last year was super slow when it came to me being able to get videos out, but I hope that this year I can do more of that. I have a monitor review coming very soon for a new monitor that we got for Christmas. Also hoping for Resident Evil 5 on the PS5, and I'm wanting to get a VR2 so that I can play some of those games. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really do hope I am able to produce more videos for you guys this year. I have a lot of fun with making the videos and editing and coming up with the different ideas, so I really want to get back into it more. Hit that like button and subscribe for more videos to come.